York, Mr. Bishop.
The gentleman from New York is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Colorado for yielding. I rise in opposition on the motion to move to the previous question so that this body may consider H.R. 1010, the Fair Minimum Wage Act of 2013. This crucial piece of legislation will positively impact the lives of nearly 30 million American workers and their families by gradually raising the federal minimum wage from its current $7.25 an hour to $10.10 an hour by 2016. Beyond 2016, the bill ties the federal minimum wage to annual inflation, ensuring that hardworking men and women will never again see their wages stagnate due to congressional obstruction or inaction. Let's first discuss who benefits from this legislation. I'm sure that many watching at home and some in this very room may have a skewed perception of the contemporary minimum wage worker. I will try my best to clear up a few of these fallacies so that this debate can be framed by fact and not by stereotype. The average age of the minimum wage worker is 35 years old. 54% of them are full-time workers. 55% of them are women. The average affected worker earns half of his or her family's total income, and more than 1/4 of minimum wage workers have children. Of the nation's roughly 75 million children, nearly 1/5 of them have at least one parent who would receive a raise if the minimum wages were increased to $10.10 an hour. An employee working 40 hours per week for the entire 52-week calendar, no time off, at the federal minimum wage will earn just $15,080 in 2014. Now, who can live on $15,000 a year? I just heard the gentleman from Georgia speak passionately about his concern for the American worker. And I would ask that gentleman and others who are concerned about the American worker, are you concerned about all of the American workers? Or are you just concerned with those who earn at higher brackets than $15,080 a year? A worker who works full-time and still is below the federal poverty level will qualify for Medicaid, for CHIP, for SNAP, and for other public assistance programs that cost taxpayers approximately $7 billion this year alone. Let's raise the minimum wage. Let's lift people out of poverty without spending a dime of additional federal money. And let's save on those programs that the federal government has put in place to help those maintain a standard of living who need a helping hand. A recent poll conducted by Quinnipiac University found that 71% of American workers support raising the minimum wage. That same poll found that Democrats, Republicans, and Independents are all in agreement that raising the minimum wage is the right thing to do. I refer back to the words of Speaker Boehner in his first speech to this chamber upon being sworn in as Speaker on January 5th, 2011. He said, "This is the people's house." May I have an extra?
I yield an additional minute to the gentleman from New York.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 additional minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the people's house. This is their Congress. It's not about us, it's about them. And what they want, and I'm quoting now, is a government that is honest, accountable, and responsive to their needs. 71% of the American people are asking us to do this. If the Speaker's words mean more than just words on a page, I would urge him to bring this bill to the floor so that we can respond to the 71% of the American people who think that raising the minimum wage is good economic policy and it's good personnel policy. I yield back the